warm welcome to you all. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have a hot subject to discuss with you. And I see my thermostat in the corner there. So my question is to you, what is your thermostat set to for confidence? Today we're going to explore confidence. And my big question is, how would you be if you were more confident than you are right now? What could you have achieved in your life? What is stopping you from stepping into the greatness that you have? So thanks for being with me. In the chat, please do let me know where you're watching from, and we'll be good to go. So I love it when you exchange with me, because it just makes it more exciting and I feel a little less lonely. So in this event that we're sharing today, I have been sharing with you the journey that you're not just a hairdresser, you're so much more. And I'm today exploring a little aspect of my career to show you what the transformation can be like because of what I actually went through in my career. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Vivian McKinder. I founded an online educational platform 20 years ago, which is called by my name. And I've been in the business for over 40 years. I've won 7 North American Hairdressing Awards, including Lifetime Achievement. And I've had many, many other awards during my time. And I'm not saying that to impress you, but to impress upon you the challenges that I've had with confidence. So from the outside looking in, you go, oh yeah, she's got it made. She's really confident. But there's been another story there. And through my story and giving you some really important tools that I believe you can use, I will help you navigate through something that truly is a challenge for so many people, especially today in the crazy world that we live in. And so again, if you have any questions, please pop it into the chat so I may connect with you and address your questions as they come up. So are you feeling stuck or doubting yourself in your career? We're going to go over 5 keys that helped me overcome challenges and truly did transform my career. So are you ready? Are you ready for the action? So we've been doing a series within You're Not Just a Hairdresser, and this is the 3rd one within this particular series about my career, the humble beginnings, the challenges, the roadblocks along the way. And so if you've missed those, please do go back, because I think you will enjoy them. So confidence. I was a very shy child. Yeah, this is me. My mother was a frustrated hairdresser, and she used to, first of all, I had this short little cute haircut. Actually, it's really quite cute. I think I cut my fringe myself, but the other one is a ginger donut. And I was not very popular at school wearing this ginger donut. In fact, I remember coming home on one occasion and saying to my mum, "Mum, I'm being teased and ridiculed. Everyone's calling me ginger donut." And for anyone who's a redhead out there, a natural redhead, when you're young, you do get teased and ridiculed a lot. And so that little thing there on my head did not go down too well. Confidence. We are the summation of our experiences in our life. And I, as a child, was terribly shy. So my mother decided to put me on the stage. Why not? I couldn't talk one-to-one to a person. So let me just talk to a huge audience, right? Through the art of dancing. And so I was thrown onto the stage at a very, very young age. And I actually did really well. I found my solace. I found my joy in dance. That was my expression. So the first thing I'm going to throw out to you is, where are you confident? Hi, Kay. Good to have you here. So where are you confident? Where do you shine? And how do you feel when you're really confident? Do you feel like you could conquer the world? How quickly is it that your confidence gets knocked? And how hard is it to rebuild it? So those are the subjects we're going to be talking about today, and a lot more. So as we dive into this subject, I was with Trevor Sorby, who at that time was one of the most renowned, famous hairdressers in the world. I was his artistic director. And he still is producing some of the most incredible hairdressers in the world. If you don't believe me, just Google Trevor Sorby and you'll see the legacy. You'll see the incredible people who have come through his training. And I was blessed enough to be one of them. So in a previous episode, I was speaking about my audition, the willingness to reinvent myself. But today we're really narrowing in on confidence. So I never left the stage, and I started to travel the world for Trevor Sorbie. And it was a pretty exciting, adventurous time to just be traveling and doing what I loved to do. But deep down inside, I was so scared and so nervous. And so let's talk about that. So my mother had tragically died when I was in my early 20s, and then my father died very soon after. And as they say in life, one door closes and another one opens. And I was so lost in my grief, and I missed my parents so desperately. They were my best friends. They were my role models, my heroes. They were everything to me. And I didn't think I could even live anymore. And in my grief, I didn't know how to process it. Back then, there weren't the self-help books, or there wasn't YouTube to help you on your way when you have a question. So it was really a struggle. And Trevor Sorbie said to me, Viv, how about going to the United States? And I said, oh, I don't know about that. I said, I don't think so. I don't know anybody there. That was pretty scary. I'm a girl born and bred in London. All my family are in the UK. I'm going to go all by myself there. And at the time, I was single. So I thought, well, what have I got to lose? And the idea was I could go to America and develop an artistic team, because Trevor at that time was launching a hair care line. And I would be the one that would be working on the hair care line with Trevor, developing an artistic team and traveling the United States. And I thought, well, maybe that will help me with my grief, because I'll be in somewhere new. In actual fact, it was the reverse. I felt so lonely. I couldn't relate to the culture I had come to. I remember going to a store and buying a self-help book. And I remember reading the self-help book, and I thought, well, nothing's really changed. So I bought another one, and then another one. And back then, there weren't the self-help books the way they are today. And one day a friend said to me, well, I know you're reading a lot of self-help books. He said, I don't really see a difference. I said, no. I said, I'm not seeing a difference either. He said, are you applying anything that you're learning? I went, oh, no. And that was the beginning of the right? So I came to the United States, and it was really quite a challenge, because I became a workaholic. And how many of you, when you've had a pain, had a challenge, you just bury yourself in your work? And momentarily, it can be okay, because it's a distraction, but it isn't the solution for healthy living. And it's also very hard to sustain. And that clearly was the case for myself. So I was just working, traveling, didn't even know where I was most of the time, because I was traveling so much. But I was struggling with confidence, and I wanted to quit because I just didn't feel good enough. And this is the challenge. Work-life balance is a really tricky thing for us all, especially today. And I've always said, and I didn't know this then, and I hear myself today say, oh my gosh, I wish I'd known that when I was younger, because some things you learn through the school of hard knocks. And what I feel a passion to do today is help people get to where I am and beyond, in skills and in success, but without some of the hardship and the suffering. I want to help people get to their goal quicker. And what I'm sharing with you right now are some lessons that took a long, long time to get to. And now I have the resources and the tools, which is what I'm going to share with you today, so that you don't have to be stuck. Because that's another important question that I want to ask. How many of you feel a little stuck right now? Hi, Phyllis, and hi, Kim, and hi, Misty and Kay. How many of you feel stuck right now? And what does it mean to get unstuck? Because clearly it requires change, right? Today is not about goal setting. We're going to do that another time. But I just wanted to quit. And I hit the wall. So the question is, hitting a wall. Learn how obstacles can become stepping stones to success. So I hit this wall, and I'm going to explain a little bit more about the wall. Father had passed away, mother had passed away, had a flat in London, was all set up, feeling great and successful. Now here I am in the United States going, oh my gosh, I am a fish out of water. What am I going to do? How am I going to build my confidence? That's the big thing. And it's about, how do you find those small wins, right? So building confidence, find out how small wins can boost your self-esteem and your self-belief. So we've got to look at the small things, right? So for myself, I was a shy hairdresser. I lacked confidence, and yet I was traveling the world, stepping on stages, doing photo shoots, doing collections, fashion collections in London at the time, doing all of these amazing things, just doing them scared. Now, I was a performer, and as a performer, I knew what it was like to step into character. And I knew what it was like to one day as a child be a pixie and the next day be, a little character out of The Sound of Music, whatever it was. I knew how to play character. I had a vivid imagination and I could make up. So I started to think, well, if you could do that, imagine you're somebody else, right? Imagine you're not this person. Imagine you're somebody else. And at that time, I didn't know the neuroscience that's now available to us all. And today, neuroscience is exploding because so many people are looking at how they can manifest the life that they want. They're looking at mindsets. They're understanding more about how the brain works. So today, all of this stuff's available. I only had intuition. So building the confidence is such an important thing for us all to do. And how many of you can relate to that, right? Many of us, yes. So confidence is not a personality trait. It's a mindset and it's a developed skill. And that's like a wow right there. So sometimes you can think that an exuberant personality, a loud personality is the one that's super confident, right? And Phyllis is saying yes. But that's not the case. There can be quiet, soft people that have that confidence, that sense of knowing when it's right and when it is wrong, right? And trusting. So there's an interesting exercise that you can do. We can do it together, actually. So if you were to ask your head, and you just put your hands here for a moment and ask your head a question about something that's challenging your confidence. So let me think of something right now. For me, stepping on a stage was always terrifying. So stepping on the stage. So how do I feel about that? I'm actually asking my head. So I want you to pick something that's relevant for you. Now ask the same question. How do I feel about stepping on the stage? Ask your heart. It's kind of exciting, actually, right? Now ask the same question to your gut, your intuition. How does that feel? Feel scared. But the love of doing it's bigger than being a scaredy cat. And the headspace up here is saying, just be prepared, do your homework and you'll be okay. So in this case, my heart's going to rule. And I think that's how I started to chisel away at confidence. And I'm curious to know for yourselves how that would be. So how would your life look with more confidence? What more could you achieve as a hairdresser? Would you be doing more innovative work? Would you be making more style selection suggestions? Would you be daring to do things that you really would be nervous to do right now? What would you do that would make that different? And I think for myself, when I look at that, I'm going to give you a really amazing example that just happened to me. Tragically, I lost my horse in March, and he was the love of my life. So I lost a dear friend. My lifestyle changed. And I'm sure for any of you that have pets, who have a dog that you walk every day, and all of a sudden your sweet dog is gone, your lifestyle has really changed, right? Well, mine did in a big way because it was a horse. I had an incredible opportunity that came my way, which was to ride a Iberian horse, this magnificent Spanish horse, white and spectacular, and he's Grand Prix. So Grand Prix is a level that they compete at in the Olympics. Clearly, I'm not that, clearly. But when I watch my heroes, especially like in the equestrian world, I'm going to watch an Olympian. I'm not going to watch somebody that is at a lower level because I want to mirror their performance, in terms of their technique. I don't want to go to the Olympics. I don't have the skill for the Olympics. I don't have the time for the Olympics, but I want to mirror excellence. That's what I'm saying. So I'm riding this magnificent horse that's intimidating, who's fiery, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm losing my confidence. And I'm a pretty good rider. I've had lots of experience riding horses, but I'm losing my confidence. And now I'm getting scared, thinking I'm going to fall and have an accident. And I think to myself, well, Viv, if you keep thinking that way, you're going to manifest it and you will be having an accident. So I went, no, confidence. What can I do here? So I thought, well, what would my role model do in this situation? My role model would get up and ride in a certain way, ride with confidence, and so on and so forth. And I thought to myself, you can't lose confidence, but you can stop trying. And guess what? I'd stopped trying because I let fear come in. And I started to have this conversation with myself saying, you're not good enough. You shouldn't do that. You're out-horsed. You're not that level. And then I said, no. I stopped trying. Get yourself out there and go for it. Do it. And now when you're there, visualize that you're that incredible person. And I did it. And it was amazing, the ride that I have and the confidence that started to shine through. So I'm using that example for you. But I want you to think of an example in your own life. And I'd love in the chat to know anything that you could share with me that would be a really good share with everybody else. So how would your life look if you were more confident? What else could you achieve is the question. And this is a big thing. As I mentioned, mentors in your life. Understand the invaluable role model of your mentors in your growth. So what is a role model going to do for you? So I have role models in hairdressing. I have role models in motivation. I'm a huge fan of Tony Robbins. I'm a huge fan of so many, Jay Shetty, just amazing people out there that are my role models. So I want to, when I've got a negative tape running in my head, I have to go delete and start reprogramming my brain with conscious thoughts of things that are empowering so that I become a better person to be around, right? And I'm not only doing it for other people, I'm doing it for myself. So you could say it's a little selfish, but if I become the best version of myself, then I've got clearly more to give to other people. So mentors are really important. So the next time you're stuck in a hair design, stuck in a technique, you could say, what would my hair mentor do right now? Would they back away or would they approach it differently? And for that moment, step into that space, step into that energy and just go, right, this is what I can do. And I promise you, you'll see some amazing things happen. So Trevor Sorby was, as I mentioned earlier, my role model. You know, he was highly published. He was on television a lot, won awards, honored by the Queen of England. The list goes on and on and on. An incredible man, an incredible sweetheart. Just what a role model. What a blessing to have this person in my life. So he comes to the United States. First of all, he sends me to the United States and says, "Viv, go and do your thing there." And I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know really whether I can do what you're saying, but I'm going to give it my best shot. So I come to America and it says, I want you to design a collection that will go on tour around the entire United States. He said, go for it, be creative, so on and so forth. Well, there I am in a room and I'm thinking, I hate this. I don't like being here. I want to go home. I miss London. I'm going down that pity party. I'm reading books, but not applying anything that I'm learning. I'm feeling very sad and very lonely. I'm having a glorified pity party and nobody's coming, right? No one is coming. So one day Trevor Sorby arrives and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you know, what am I going to do? So he comes into the room and I've got the collection there and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what's he going to say? Now, this is a man who's published, who, I mean, is so celebrated. When he does avant-garde, there is something so sparkly and so different about his work. So he comes into the room. There's my collection there for him to look at. And he's silent. And he looks at the work and he looks at me. He says, you know, there's a fine line between creativity and bad taste. And I go, yeah. And he said, and I said to him, well, which one am I? Oh, he said, bad taste. And I remember thinking, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't have a pity party, you hate it here. And right at that moment, I thought, well, I've got all the reasons to blame. I don't like being in America. I want to go home. I'm homesick for England. I had a list of reasons why I had failed. And you know what? He called me out on it. He said, those reasons don't make a damn bit of difference. He said, this is what you produced, and you're letting your head get in the way of your hands. Wow. And I thought, well, I'm not going to do that. And he said, you know, do you want to win or do you want to lose? Ooh, I don't think any of us want to lose, right? But some of our behavior leads us down that path. And I said, no, I want to win. He said, what you need to do is start again and strip everything down and just know that less will always be more. That was a painful ego knock, but it was a great lesson that why design if you lose the essence of beauty? Why do what you're doing if it's not 5-star? And if it's not, find out why it's not 5-star and then move on. So this is the thing why people get jammed, I think, in the first place, is confidence is a skill and we all start at 0. So even though I built a collection that got the thumbs down, I'm now going to go back to 0 again and rebuild. And every time a hairdresser touches a head of hair, we begin at 0. And our vision, our artistry, our professionalism, our sense of knowing when it's right and when it's wrong, it's all that we have to guide us on our map. And obviously, systems take you to a result. And the stronger your systems, the stronger your technique. And there's a system in a consultation. There's a system in balancing a face shape. There's a system in voguing around the face. There's a system in mapping a hair design. There are systems. And when you lean into the system does not let you down. But having a goal just to be creative or having a goal just to be more artistic is so vague. It's the system that's going to take you to the goal. And just knowing that you're at 0, what a beautiful thing, because all you can do is go up, right? And that's the big thing there. So how many of you relate to that? Do you? The next thing is confidence, take action, just do it. And that is huge. Just do it, right? And you think, oh, I don't know whether I can. I don't know whether I can. But confidence is also to do it afraid, which means having courage. So there's many things I've done where I was really scared and I thought, I don't know whether I can do this. I don't know whether I can do this. And it was just the determination and the courage to do it. And now what I can say, which I didn't say in the beginning, I was too naive. Now I can say, listen, when it's not working, what do I need to learn? What do I need to change? And how do I need to move forward as quickly as possible? Do not ever defend what I'm doing. Defending is putting up a wall. It's not learning and growing. Defending is an excuse. So that is where now, the moment I catch myself making an excuse, I have to say, I have to take ownership of it because it will impact everything I do in my life. And that is really very, very powerful. So confidence, what if I go for my goal? So this is the question. I'm asking, where's your confidence right now? I'm asking you, how would your life be different if you were more confident? And I'm asking you today, what would you do differently if you had the courage and you just went for it, right? A calculated risk. And what if you go for that goal? So I'd love to know in the chat what kind of goals you have here, because the other question would be, what if you do nothing? You don't have to do something. What if you do nothing? Will you be frustrated? Will you be bored? Will you feel like you are sliding backwards? Will you feel like you're standing still? What does that mean to you? And I think that's a big, big thing. So just let me know what your thoughts are. Now I understand this. I didn't in the beginning. Know your why. Know why you're doing what you're doing, and then explore the how. Why are you doing it, right? So I took all of my teaching and training and helping people online. Why? I wanted to reach more people. Why? I wanted to be able to reach people on a regular basis so that they weren't relying on getting on an airplane to come and meet me. I wanted them to be able to, from the comfort of their kitchen, their salon, their lounge, connect with me, talk with me, and I could help them in a more realistic way. So while, of course, it's amazing to work in person, you can't do that every week. And what I've noticed is confidence and change in habits only can happen like one baby step at a time. And that's where I've seen the progress. So my why for what I do now is I can help and serve more people than ever before. And so then the how is going down this incredible path that I've been on, which has been the most amazing experience. So when there is that gap, and you're crossing from comfort of what you know to the discomfort of what you don't know, that's where confidence really plays in. Because again, remembering everyone starts at zero, remembering if you can visualize what would your mentor do in that situation, would they go backwards or would they say, come on, we're going to cross over and we're going to do it? What would your mentor do? And the goal is to mirror what your mentor does. So again, ask what your hero or mentor would do. That is the big thing there. So when you look at yourself in the mirror, do you see yourself as this little cub here that's got all this potential and you just want to grow up and be this wonderful roaring lion and just conquer the world and have all these victories? Or do you still see yourself small? And, you know, Phyllis is saying doing nothing means no change, no growth. Absolutely right, Phyllis. So how we see ourselves is so important. So as an English person, we tend to be quite reserved in terms of my father always said it was terribly rude to speak about oneself. So here I am telling my career. And I'm talking about myself, which in some ways is just so not British. And we have this reserve, and a lot of us have a lot of humility. So we're not boastful and bragging about what we do. Clearly, every culture has it, but the English tend to have a little bit more of a reserve. So I've always lived in, you make yourself look small because, you know, you must be humble. But there's a place for that. And then there's a place for saying, no, I've got the skill. I can help people. Because how can I help people if I think small? How can I serve if I think small? I can only serve if I think of all the possibilities and grow. And obviously, it's a life's devotion to being a lifelong learner. This doesn't happen overnight, clearly. And unfortunately, this doesn't happen in a TikTok moment. This is about, you know, studying and growing, right? So confidence, visualize a mentor and then mirror their action. And this is a really cool thing that in the brain, there is something called mirror neurons. And that's why you see so often friends who actually look exactly alike. And I think the funniest thing is when you see women going to like a hen party, or here in America, a bachelorette party, or a baby shower, and you see all the friends there and they all look the same. Right? How many of you see that? It's about stretching out and not being so uniformed. And what I find fascinating about hair fashion today, we live in a world today where you can be so individual. You have your own voice. And yet I've never seen fashion as boring and as uniformed as it is right now. And it's so sad because I just went to an event this weekend and I went to an art showing, and it was in a home in the Hamptons. It was a private party, and the house is for sale. And the house is on the market for $75 million. And the artwork's all displayed there. And there was very chic, fabulous people there, beautiful, beautiful people. And I saw lots of, you know, lovely, lovely people. I would say most of the people had long hair that looked exactly the same as each other. I actually stood out because I don't have long hair. I'm a redhead. I'm older, but I stood out. Do you know the amount of compliments I got? I was like, really? Young people. Oh, I love your hair. It's so cute. I love the color. And I'm thinking, I remembered nobody that was there because they all looked the same. It was a sea of sameness. So is that mirror neurons playing over control? Absolutely it is. So watch for that. But in the flip side of it, who can you mirror today? Who can you mirror in building your confidence? So I know we've got friends here that are new to my world. We're broadcasting out here on YouTube. And so I want to offer you this gift. We have a lovely little book, which is called How to Be an In-Demand Hairdresser. Please, if you leave in the chat that you'd like a copy of this, what we will obviously need in the chat is how to contact you. So you can actually put your email address in there and we will send you this book. And, you know, it's a lovely little gift to help you on your way with some really great practical tips. So knowing your why, uncover the power of purpose in driving your career forward. And that's really important. Know your why, because motivation comes and goes. But your why is so huge. It's so important. That's the thing that's going to drive you forward in the most profound way. So know your why. So on my website, we have so many different aspects of education there. There's, I think by now I've even stopped counting, but probably 3,000 videos there. But we've got all these different courses. So if you have a curiosity to think about how could Vivian coach you, train you, what's the next step in your career, then please visit here. You can actually book a call with one of my team members and they can discover where you are in your career, how to help you, how to serve you, and to see if there's anything that we have that will help you accelerate your confidence where you want to go on your journey. So please do check that out. And that is at vivianmckinder.com. So as we're moving forward here, we're seeing that Kim is saying when you stretch yourself, stepping out of your comfort zone is always difficult, but that's where you start growing. Absolutely true, Kim. So true. So for those of you who are new to my world, please don't forget to like and subscribe and share with anyone who needs a little extra motivation today. And let's grow and change together. So just think about is there somebody right now that you could send this link to? I would love for each one of you to think of one person right now who you could bless, who you feel that would help. And it may not be a hairdresser. Maybe it's just your husband. Oh, goodness me. Excuse me. Letting go and reinventing has been a big part of my career. There's a great quote: you can never discover new horizons unless you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. So when you're holding on to something, your hands are holding tight to this. You're so busy holding on. It's very hard to bring something else new in. It's the letting go. It's the letting go and saying, right, how am I going to reinvent myself? So for some of you, it could be, well, let's reinvent and become the master in the razor. For some of you, you may be a really great colorist, but you actually don't work with color. You just work with high lift and toning. And it's like, well, it's time to start learning color formulation. For some of you, you think, oh, perming. Yeah, you know, there's some really cool perms. How could you do a perm and have a texture like my hair? My hair is naturally curly, but how could you do this with a perm? You can today, right? Dress work. Are all your styles looking exactly the same? Well, letting go and reinvent. But before you can reinvent, you got to let go. That's an important part of this. It's embracing the change. It's reinvention that's so important. And by doing that, you open yourself up to some incredible new opportunities. And that's what I want to share with you next. So I was traveling the world. I was based in the United States, and I was doing all these amazing things, and I felt like I'd hit another wall. I thought, what am I going to do? So somehow this opportunity came my way, and somebody said, why don't you make a coffee table book? I went, what? How am I going to do that? And I don't even know how it all came to be. The money, the resources to just do it in whatever way, whatever. But I created this book and it was called Montage. So I decided that I wanted to do a lovely sort of story of the diversity of women. And I just wanted beautiful quotes. So clearly I'd had one too many Chinese meals. I've been the fortune cookie. My book turned into fortune cookie quotes. Well, a bit better than that, but just very powerful. So I'm working on all these amazing things. Within every woman, there is a child who desires to be set free to play. You know, what would that be for you, right? Kind of cool, huh? So I did this book, and then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to get it out there? And one of my huge role models and my mentors was Vidal Sassoon, who, for those of you who don't know, he totally revolutionized our industry. So for any of you young watching, you think, who's Vidal? Just Google, because he took women out of roller sets of the 1950s bouffants, which are fabulous, and put them into blow dries and wash and wear hairstyles. So he completely transformed our industry. And he's the one that created contemporary haircutting for hair. So for every time as a client you go to the salon, you're probably having a version of a Vidal Sassoon designed haircut. So that was where I came from. So one day I decide to fly to LA to meet the legendary Vidal Sassoon. So I think, right, so we're talking about confidence here, right? So I thought, right, that's it. I'm going to fly to LA. I'm going to meet Vidal Sassoon and I'm going to ask him if he'll write the forward for my book. Am I crazy? So somehow I called one of his people, because at that level, you talk to the people. And I made an appointment. And so I flew myself to Los Angeles all by myself. And I'm like, that is where I was blinded by the love for what I was doing, that my head wasn't even in the conversation. Remember how I said, when you have a very important question, ask your head, ask the same question to your heart, ask the same question to your gut. I just went for it. So I arrive in LA and I'm in this really fancy, amazing place. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to meet the man, the icon. And he's going to write the forward for my book. Maybe, maybe not, Vivian. All I had were contact sheets, which is what you can see here in this image. Just the small thumbnails of the entire book. Not even a mock of the book. None of that. Just contact sheets. And I go in and I sit there and I'm sitting in front of him. And he's such a gracious man, so amazing. So I said, well, I want to publish this book and I want you to write the forward for me, please. And he said, well, what's the book about? So I told him and I said, well, I have the contact sheets here if you want to take a look at the hair and to see if, I'm worthy of you being part of this. I mean, this is an icon. And I'm thinking, oh, are you crazy? I'm sweating. I'm just a mess. But I'm smiling because I know how to put on a show face. And he starts looking through the contact sheets and he's very quiet, and just looking and looking. And I'm thinking, you're a fool, Vivian. Just go home. Who are you kidding? And I went down that, let's defeat ourselves before we've even begun. And I just sit there and I can feel tears welling up in my eyes. And he stops and he puts his glasses on the end of his nose and he looks at me. And he said, my dear, he said, this is absolutely beautiful. He said, it will be an honor to write the forward for your book, which he did. And it was like, I was floating on a cloud. I felt amazing. I had confidence, right? I had confidence all of a sudden. But prior to that, I sure as heck didn't, but I faked it. And if I'm going to be turned down by someone, I want to be turned down by the greatest person in the world, which he was. In the hairdressing world, he was the greatest in the world. And so it was pretty amazing. So that was the birth of that book. And having said that, a few months later, Vidal came out with his own book. I had my book, and we both did book signings together. And I signed a book for Vidal and vice versa. And I still had that beautiful book that he signed for me with a very special message, which is worth its weight in gold today. So, what if I hadn't had the confidence to do that? What if my love to do it had been sabotaged by the fear or the lack of confidence? All those opportunities would not have happened. But then I hit another wall. And I thought, oh gosh, I've done that. Now where do I go with this? I hit a wall. And I thought, right, you've got to go and reinvent yourself. So I met this incredible journalist, Aldo Belquar, who worked with fashion models and did all of this fabulous stuff. And he interviewed me, and we became friends, and time passed by and I hit this wall. And I thought, oh my gosh. He said, Vivian, you're burnt out. And you see, sometimes when you work so hard and you don't have balance in your life, it actually goes against you. No confidence in the world is going to help you at that point because you're burnt out. And I was. And I said, I'm just dry. I have no ideas. I have nothing more to give. I'm done. I'm going to quit. And I did this really interesting aptitude test in Canada, which lasted 2 days. And I felt like a monkey, like doing all these tests. It was just crazy, crazy. And at the end of it all, they said that what I had chosen as a career actually was the right thing. I thought I was going to do something completely different. They said, you just need to reinvent yourself within the career. Don't run away from the career. You just need to reinvent. So with this young gentleman, we went off to Morocco. He said, let's go to Morocco. I said, Morocco? He said, yes, I'll cast the models in Paris. We'll go to Morocco. And we traveled all over Morocco and we had the most amazing time. And he said, you need to be inspired by colors, by textures. You need to be inspired by what is happening on the street. And P.S., this beautiful model here, I burnt off her hair. I put her hair around the curling iron and I was cooking it nicely. And of course, the currency there for the iron was different to the UK and America. And the whole thing started to tremble and it burnt off her hair. That was not a very fun experience. But anyway, it ended up being quite something. So I went to Morocco. I got myself re-inspired. I was in the Sahara Desert with the camels, which was quite an experience, let me tell you. And it was just this incredible adventure. We shot for magazines, we did all of this fun stuff, but I came back with such a richness of experiences that I couldn't have got anywhere else. Again, it's that willingness to show up that I think is so very, very important. So really, when you look at what I've been sharing today, confidence is a skill to develop, and we all start at zero. Confidence, just do it. Visualize and mentor and mirror their action when you're feeling a bit wobbly. Whoa. Do it afraid, which means having courage, right? And here's somebody just recently sent me this picture and it was like, oh my goodness me. And talk about the scared little girl. This is me. I'm with Paula Kent Meeham, who's the founder of Redken, Michael Gordon, who was the founder of Bumble and Bumble Products, Vidal Sassoon, the icon that I mentioned, and Luis Longueras, who is one of the most famous Spanish hairdressers who built an empire. I did a presentation to these people, and I'm not saying this to brag, but I'm saying this to say, can you imagine? And Horst, who was the founder of Aveda, was in the audience as well. They were all in the front row. I came out on stage and I went, ah, ah. And again, the love for what I do was greater than my head nonsense, greater than my gut feeling. And it was just do it. Just do it and stay with the content and get out of yourself and serve. And I promise you, when you get out of your head and you think, how can I serve others? Something happens. It's pretty amazing. So this was a kid who was totally scared and terrified, but somehow it worked. And it was an amazing experience. So I've spoken about 5 things today: hitting the wall, building confidence, mentors are a lifeline, knowing why, letting go, and reinventing. And that's where the magic happens. And that's where it's super powerful. So as I mentioned before, we have this lovely little ebook that we can send to you. Just pop in the chat your email address and we can send that to you, or you can go to our website, vivianmckinder.com, and just put a little chat there and we can send that to you if you want to keep your email address private, which I completely understand. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with anyone who needs a little extra motivation today. And let's grow and change together. So I hope you found this valuable today. I hope I've given you some tools to think about and reframing what confidence really does mean, that it is a skill and you can develop it. In our next episode, I'm going to go into what happened when I left the iconic Trevor Sorbie and when I became the artistic director for Matrix, who was then purchased by L'Oreal, and that journey and some of those challenges along the way. And part of that is going to be talking about goal setting and how to make that become a reality and all the other things that happened along the way. So I hope that you feel empowered as a hairdresser and just think about how you can step into your confidence and make a difference to other people's lives. Thank you so much for being with me today. And I thank you so, so much. And bye for now. Bye-bye.